Hi everyone. We just had a great paddle over at John Pennicamp, 2-mile paddle in the mangroves. Really nice, and we're on our way down to Marathon to stay down there for a couple days. But when you're in the Keys, you must check out Paddle, the Florida Keys. Florida Keys is, you can find them in Tavernier, right across from Tavernier Creek Marina. And in the description, you can find website and their YouTube page. And I want to introduce you to Scott Baste. And I do want to talk to you about the recent Suwannee 230 that you just did. Hi Scott,
hey.
How are you?
Hey, welcome.
So the documentary was amazing. I saw it on YouTube. Definitely check out the documentary. And Scott, tell us a little bit about the Suwannee 230 that you just finished.
So the Suwannee 230 is a source to sea race. We start up in the very northern part of the river, which is just outside the Okefenokee Swamp in Georgia. And then after 30 miles, it crosses into Florida. And then it continues all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. We finish up about a half mile from the Gulf of Mexico. So it's the whole river, and it's one of the few rivers in Florida that are undammed. So it's a natural river. It flows, the flow goes up and down based on the rainfall. So every time you go, it's a different kind of river. And I've always wanted to do I'm a kind of do it the whole thing kind of guy. So when this race has been in my awareness for a number of years now, and this is the first year I've really had the opportunity to do it. So even though I was still kind of recovering from another race, I decided to go ahead and give it a shot, and it turned out really good.
That's fantastic. And you broke records for SUP on the Suwannee. If I remember correctly, it was 59 hours, 18 minutes, 20 seconds?
Pretty close.
Okay.
Pretty close. 16 minutes, 50 something, yeah. So a little bit more than 59 hours, so I was really, really happy about that, because my original goal was 62 and a half hours.
Wow.
The record was 82 and a half hours, I think, before that. So I chopped a lot off of the record. So I was really happy with that. And actually ended up beating the 2-man canoe record.
Wow.
So yeah, this was a fast year, so that was helpful.
Goodness.
But it was also just a matter of perseverance and hard work.
I saw in the documentary that you mentioned that everything 441. So you lived on 441, you went to camp at 441.
So a goodly part of my life has been spent on that
441.
highway. So, yeah, it's kind of interesting.
That's neat. I love that moment when you're going by and you're going under the bridge there, and you just kind of, all those memories kind of came to you in that moment. Amazing accomplishment. And it was really exciting to see all of that. I love the documentary. It's beautiful. So check it out. Again, link below, and you don't want to miss that. It's a very cool documentary that he made. All right, Scott, so we have quite a few people that are interested in getting started. They don't know how to get started, what kind of paddleboard, what advice do you have for them coming down to Florida and getting ready to get wet and in the water and paddle away?
Well, usually what we do is we look at a couple things. We look at the budget, so how much you want to spend on a new paddleboard. We also look at your size and your intended use of the paddleboard. So different people use paddleboards different ways. Some people want to do yoga, some people want to fish, some people just want to hang out and use it more like a floating kind of contraption. Some people want to do fitness and exercise and build strength and that kind of thing. So first things we look at is your size and your budget. Somebody my size is going to require a bigger paddleboard than somebody your size, because you don't need as much flotation in order to be stable. The idea is, especially for your first board, you want something that's fairly stable, but if you go the route of getting something that's too stable, then what happens is it's kind of like having a bicycle with training wheels you can never take off. So it's better off to stretch just a little bit on the less stable side. It's something that you're going to really appreciate 2 weeks down the road once you've gotten past the initial instability part of the whole thing. We have a couple different boards that we have. The most entry-level board is going to be the cruiser style, or what most people think of as a paddleboard. It's basically a big surfboard. All right, so it's kind of an oval shape. It's got a relatively flat bottom. This one happens to have a tri-fin setup, so if you're going to go surfing, you could put the little side fins in there, and it would help with steering when it's surfing. This board goes for $6.99 retail, so that's a good entry-level price board.
Oh yeah.
And then that would be for a smaller person, and for a bigger person, same board but just a foot longer and an inch wider. So this would be like if you and I were to come together and buy paddle boards, I would get this one, you would get that one, that kind of thing. It's also $6.99. This is this company makes two different weight boards. This is the heavier weight, more durable version, a little bit lighter but a little more expensive. Same board exactly, except for the construction on the inside, but the shape and everything's the same. A little more expensive, but a lot lighter. So I don't have this one in the short one right now. I just have the tall one available right now. But a lot of times, especially for women, this board's a little heavy to get up on top of the car by themselves.
Yeah.
If you lose 7 or 8 pounds off of it, though, then it's a piece of cake. You can put it up on top. So if you're going to be moving it around a lot, then we steer you towards a little bit lighter weight version of it. It's a little more expensive, but you can put it on your car, and it's important to be able to load it up yourself, because that way, whenever you get ready to go paddling, you don't have to have somebody help you load it up. So that's the cruiser style. Then a little bit more expensive, but not a lot. This is going to be in the $7.80 range. I'll show you the short one here. This is called the Dow Fit, and this is a little bit wider board, but it's a little shorter. But it's got a full deck pad, so it's great for doing the yoga and that kind of thing on, or for fishing, or if you're gonna bring a dog or a kid, then you got the padding up front there for them. It's also got more bungees on it, and it's got a little bit of shape to the back, so now you can start seeing it's got that little bit of ridge in the nose.
Oh yeah.
That's gonna help you with tracking. It turns out that 95% of the time when you're paddleboarding, you're going straight. So you really don't need one that turns good. You want one that goes straight good. So as we move up in price and also up in skill level, you'll see that some of the other boards are designed really for going straight, for tracking, at the expense of other properties. Great. So every board is a kind of a trade-off. This board's going to be great for stability, great for learning on, great for having a good time on. It's not going to be a race board.
Right.
You know, and you can get some exercise on it, because any board you go out there and move around, you're going to get exercise. It's a great entry-level board. This is our #1 seller, this one right here. Just because it's still in that $7.80 range, but it's got a lot better shape, and it's going to go a lot straighter for you. So that's always important. We're going to skip all the way down here. Let's see what we got next. The fishing boards. Oh, here's one. So this is the fishing board. Basically a giant version of the Fit that we just saw there a minute ago.
Okay.
This is going to be for people that are just looking to fish, or they're looking to go out with tandem, so you can put 2 people on this board. It's also what I call my big guy board. So if I get somebody in here that's 300 pounds, 350, even 400 pounds, they can get on this board and they can paddle it with ease and not fall off, and so it will support their weight. And then usually what happens is they'll drop 50, 60 pounds pretty quick, and then they'll be ready to move into a smaller board.
Oh yeah.
But that's a great board for people that are bigger. It does have the back bungees as well, and then this one is fitted with tracks that you can put accessories in. So if you want to put fishing rod holders, bait trays, depth finders, all that kind of stuff that people that fish seem to accumulate. When we start getting into the more performance boards, these are going to be the longer boards, the pointier boards. We do usually have shorter versions of this in stock, but right now there's been a real run on paddle boards. I'm waiting on a load of stuff to come in about a week and a half. This is a 14-foot touring board. It's 29 inches wide, so it's stable enough. This is a YOLO board. We used to be a YOLO board dealer, but we don't sell as many YOLO boards anymore. We've kind of moved into the SIC. They also have a similar board to this, but we're sold out of it right now. But this one's got front and back bungees, full deck pad. This is great for people that want to start. Maybe you want to do more exercise, go a little longer distance, or maybe you're even going to do an overnight camping trip. This is a great board for doing overnight camping trips on. Matter of fact, I have one that's almost exactly like this right here that I use for the Suwannee River race. So that's a.
Oh wow.
You see it's outfitted with some extra attachment points and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that one's 28 inches wide. This one's 29 inches wide. So those boards work great for doing camping type excursions, carrying a little bit more load, or going a little bit further distance. Then we go into our thoroughbreds. They're the only other kind of category that we have available right now, and that's going to be the racing boards. These all come typically in either 12/6 or 14-foot lengths. More popular is the 14-foot length, just because they're a little bit faster than the 12/6, and you can have a narrower board. So for instance, if I had a 29-inch 12/6 board, I would have to have a 28-inch wide board, but with 14 feet, I can go down to 24 inches wide, and the narrower it is, the less resistance you have in the water, so the faster the board goes. These go from anywhere from, actually there's some 21s out there, but we just have, right now all we have is a 23 in stock, 23, 24 and a half, and 26. But a couple of features that you'll notice is the grab handle and then the recessed deck. So the deck is down inside the board a little bit, so that lowers your center of gravity. So that makes you feel more stable because part of the board is actually above you. So what we talk about is our secondary stability. As you start pushing down on that board, it starts pushing back up on you.
Excellent information on these boards. I know exactly which one I am going to get next, so I'm sure you have some ideas for yours as well. Now we're going to talk about accessories. Yes, that's the race board right there. Yes.
So one of the most important things in paddleboarding is safety. All right, and so what we talk about in safety is we want to have a leash. And we use these coil leashes that you put around your ankle and you attach to the board. That way if you fall off the board, especially if there's a little bit of breeze, your board doesn't go sailing down the water and you get left out in the middle of the water. You also want a life jacket. And so a lot of the paddleboarders use inflatable style life jackets because they're less bulky and you only deploy it when you need it. So that's kind of helpful to have. This is also required by the Coast Guard. Coast Guard requires you have a life jacket and a whistle with you at all times. So a whistle, life jacket, a leash. We have a variety of paddles. Typically when you first start paddling, you're going to get a entry-level paddle similar to this. We like this one a lot for the first-time paddlers. It's got a plastic blade and a carbon fiber shaft, so it's a little bit lighter weight than some of the aluminum models out there. And it's adjustable, so you can adjust the height. You can adjust it anywhere. This one particular one has a scale on it, but they're all adjustable in some way or another. And this is what a lot of people end up with as their first paddle because it's relatively inexpensive. This one is $99, for instance, so really good value for an entry-level paddle. And one of the reasons we like it is with the plastic, especially when you're first learning, your tendency when you come close to that seawall or that rock is to push off with the paddle. So if you have one of these nice $500 racing paddles, you don't want to push that into the rock. So while you're learning, if you get the $100 adjustable paddle, that's a great start. At the other end is the $500 carbon fiber racing paddle, and you can feel there's a huge weight difference. Also, it's a custom cut, so we'll take this handle off here. We measure you up based on your height, and then we'll take the handle off. We'll cut the shaft off wherever it needs to be cut and glue it back on again with some epoxy. And then you have a custom-made paddle to your height, so there's no extra. One of the drawbacks with the adjustable is that you have this inside shaft goes all the way down here, which means you have a lot of duplicated material, which means you're gonna have a lot of extra weight. Not only that, but it makes it super stiff right here, so you lose some of the flexibility, which is really what you're looking for with a paddle shaft. You want something that's gonna bend. As you put load on it, you want it to be able to bend, because that's gonna be your shock absorber and keep the shock from your shoulders and your elbows and everything. I know we do have other paddles in between those two price ranges, anywhere from, like I said, I actually have a $60 paddle all the way up to $500 paddle and everything in between. Most of the racers gravitate towards these quick blade. They have a really nice one for $400, and then the upgraded version of that is $500. So that's kind of the high end stuff, and then at the lower end you have the $60 aluminum shafted paddles. Other great ideas, if you don't have one of those plastic boards, if you have a fiberglass board, another great idea is a nose protector. This will keep you from putting holes in the front of the board if you run into the rocks. That's always a nice thing to do. And then we do have patch kits as well. And if you need some bungees in a place where you don't have bungees, you can add those onto the board. You know, if you get a little hole, you can repair it.
So always have a kit with you, right? Always have a repair kit, especially if you know, you're paddling. Let's say you're going through 10,000 islands, or you're going to an area where you're not going to have. You're going to need to come back, and you don't want to be stranded, right? So do you recommend having those kits with you?
Yeah, at the minimum, throw a couple stickers in your bag.
Yeah.
Stickers are great for keeping the water out, and sometimes you don't have time or you can't do a proper repair in the field, and that's what I do. I have a couple of, I have some clear duct tape that I use that I could put over the top of a small hole. If it's bigger than that, I do also bring epoxy. I don't have it here at the shop. I bring like an epoxy kind of paste that you get at the hardware store. And it comes in a tube and you can mix it up, and it's waterproof, so you can actually apply it. Epoxy does not rely on water to set. It's a heat and chemical reaction. So you can put it on under the water and it will set up on its own, even if it's fully in the water all the time. So
that's cool.
The important thing is to keep the water out. And like I said, stickers or duct tape, like not the regular duct tape, but like the clear, Gorilla Glue makes a clear duct tape. So it's like a clear, really clear, heavy-duty clear tape, and that works really good for patching the board temporarily. Okay. The main thing we want to focus on is just having a good time on the boards. We want to bring less, okay? We don't need to bring a bunch of stuff. That's the wonderful part about paddleboarding is it's you and the board and some hydration if you're going for a long time, and definitely sunscreen, and you know, a nice hat, and you know, if you want to bring a cooler along, that's great. You got the bungees, you can put the cooler on there. But I think for me, the really neat thing about paddleboarding is it's something you can do without bringing a lot of stuff along. And especially on a shorter time, you know, if you're going for an hour or two, which is plenty long enough to get exercise in, then you really don't need a whole lot of gear with you. So when you come to visit, this is one of the places where we launch our kayaks. Usually we launch the paddleboards up at the shop there on the back porch, but then the kayaks we launch here. We got the ocean access right there. A little Calto Key right out there, a little island. It's got a little swing on it, so you can go out there and take your Instagram pictures. Everything you see out there besides the boat channel, which is probably hard to see on the GoPro, is only about 1 to 2 feet deep, so that you can see the wildlife the whole time, and it's super safe, because if you fall off, you're going to stand up in the muck. Yeah. Might go a foot or two down in the muck with your feet, but you can stand up. And then we have the protection from the mangroves over there. Predominantly our wind comes from the east here, so it's coming over those trees. So we always have 20 to 30 feet along the side over there that's out of the wind. So even when it's really windy days, people come here and have a great time. They can't go diving, they can't go kayaking anywhere else. They can go kayaking here because we got that protection. So we're grateful to have that. So if you're coming to the Keys, all right, and you want to find out what's going on, or you want to know where to go paddle for the day, you can always come paddle here out the back door of the shop, or we can help you pick a place to go paddling. Our website is paddle.com. You can reserve boards there if you want to just rent some gear for the day. And you can check out my YouTube channel as well at Paddle the Florida Keys. And remember to paddle yourself to a better place.